Me, myself, I actually could not get an erection for 2 years. 2 years. And I know from first and foremost, when I was on steroids, I was definitely more angry. I definitely had more of a temper. I definitely wasn't the person I am right now.
Like a lot of people think that, okay, you can only become famous through competing.
Yeah.
So this is why I started my own natural platform, which is the Himalayan Stallion Sports Festival.
Yeah.
So where we test all the athletes, they compete, and it wasn't a surprise for me. I knew that it's gonna go big.
Yeah.
And all the athletes, those who have won there, they're getting good followers. They're getting good contracts from the brands, still being natural.
Yeah.
So why do you want to take steroids then?
It's like being an ice or a heroin addict where you're hooked, you go to rehab and you get off, but you just chase that high so we get back on. And then it's like you hate that life, so you try to get off, and it's just a never-ending effect. It's the exact same as steroids.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is Jeet Selal. Thanks for subscribing to my channel and thanks for your love and support. दोस्तों, मेरे साथ आज Jackson है, and Jackson is a really fun guy and he's got a bit of story with steroids and a lot of stuff. तो आज हम वो थोड़ा सा discuss करने वाले हैं. Of course, this podcast or the whole thing is going to be in English. Of course, I'll put the subtitles, Hindi subtitles. So bro, tell me a bit about yourself.
First of all, say hi to all of your audience, you know, India and that, and have a lot of respect for all of them. And my name's Jackson Tippett. I'm 28 years of age. I was addicted to steroids for 6 years. I didn't get off. I stayed consecutively on for 6 years. I pretty much use every steroid under the sun. I'm very open to it. And it was all fine for the first 2 years. You know, I looked amazing, I was recovering amazing, my libido was through the roof, all of those things that come with, but then once it went on a little bit more and I got too addicted, the side effects came in, and basically I am trying to spread my message now to the world through my podcast and through stuff like this and other channels, just to help people to maybe realize the pros and cons of steroids before you actually decide to inject a hormone, because a lot of people don't know a lot about them and they just go, you know, they type in Google, what's the best first cycle, or and it's this, we need to talk about it more, because there's not many people that actually talk about steroids.
Correct.
Because they're scared to talk about it. We can maybe help the younger generation not to go down that path. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, steroids are a drug, and like any drug, there comes side effects. And just because steroids are in the fitness industry, people think they're so healthy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go, oh, I'm eating healthy, I'm exercising regularly, but then I'm injecting these hormones and I'm taking these tablets, so I must be healthy.
Yeah.
There's nothing healthy about it at all.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I can go into full depth of the things that I suffered from abuse of steroids. Yeah.
Because since you're not taking any steroids, and people have this misconception that, you know, if you're not taking steroids or if you're not looking bulky or like shredded like to the bones, you can't earn money in fitness or you can't grow big or famous. So that's kind of a mindset people usually have. They all want to become a professional bodybuilder, you know, get Instagram following and freaking, you know, girls chasing them, you know, these kind of mindset they have.
Yeah.
So tell me your story, like how do you earn money and how big you're doing right now?
I can tell you first and foremost, you do not need to take steroids. You do not need to compete in a bodybuilding show to make money online or be successful.
Yeah.
I actually think it's almost the opposite, to be honest. And I don't want to sit here and bag people to compete, because I have mates that compete. I have mates that are still on enhancement drugs.
That's a personal choice.
Yes, it is. But bro, I'm telling you right now, if you look at bodybuilding shows, the amount you spend on coaches, drugs, food, supplements, for what, a plastic trophy? Like, there's not many people that are gonna go to the Olympia and be top 10. Do you know what I mean? We're just doing figures here. So when I actually started to become natural and speak about this and do my podcast and mainly teach people that you can have an amazing physique naturally, but it's also more appealing to the general population.
That's correct.
And you're gonna live longer.
Yeah.
I think it's actually boosted my business, because it's a wider community that wants to listen to you. Yeah. The bodybuilding steroid community is a 5% of the population, but we're combining for mums and dads, teenagers, old men, rehab, all of this stuff. So I think if you're out there and you're going, oh, I just want to do steroids because, you know, it's going to get me on stage and I'm going to get an IFBB Pro card, or I'm going to get all these girls come to me. I can tell you right now, it is not that whatsoever. And you're a spitting image of that, you know. You have an incredible following. You're reaching a wide variety of audience. You've never touched an enhancement in your life.
That's correct.
And you look amazing.
You
look, you know, we could train then and a lot of people would look at you that wouldn't know you. They'd be like, yeah, he's enhanced. And it's just, that's just the general mindset of people, you know what I mean? So I want to know, maybe we'll flick it back to you because my audience is also going to listen.
Yeah.
Why have you never touched steroids?
Because I never thought of it appealing. Why? Because I don't want to go to that path. Because I knew the first coaches which I had in my life was like pretty straight.
Yeah.
They were like, what are your goals? What are your goals? You want to build a good body? You can build a good body. You want to stay healthy? You can stay healthy without taking any of this stuff. You don't want to compete? Because I didn't want to compete because I've been an athlete since, you know, I was a little kid. I was into Taekwondo, martial arts. So I knew like how athlete works, right? What's the mindset you need? And when I started lifting weights, it was like, you know, okay, so I'm getting big muscles and, you know, looking good. But that doesn't mean that I want to become a bodybuilder. Yeah. Because I had one thing clear, that I'm gonna work on my communication skills. I'm gonna work more on my knowledge, the nutrition knowledge, the training knowledge. I'm gonna share that. And this has worked for me. Like, you know, I tell people that, see, I don't take steroids. I've never taken steroids. It's been like more than 15 years. And I'm doing pretty good in my field. I've got like decent following, I earn money, I've got my business, I've got my events. So it's not about taking drugs and then only you can grow in fitness. There are many other ways you can do it. Freaking do marketing, do management. There's so many things you can do in fitness, health, sports. So this is what I teach people, and I want to create more heroes like the natural heroes, those who can set an example in life. I have achieved this thing without taking steroids, and I'm still doing good. You know, so this is what I want to create.
And I can tell you there's not many out there.
Well, we will. So this is why I have like.
But this is why we're doing this, and this is why I want to. This is why I got my podcast. It's a common thing to be natural, be successful, but also look amazing. If that starts to become like a ripple effect, where like, oh, one of my audience people hears me, and then they go, no, you know what? I don't need to use steroids. Maybe I'll contact these two. Maybe I'll do some business ideas and marketing, and maybe I'll do something different than just injecting a hormone and trying to get on a bodybuilding stage. So I think it's awesome.
And plus, like, you know, adding one point here as well, like a lot of people think that, okay, you can only become famous through competing. So this is why I started my own natural platform, which is the Himalayan Stallion Sports Festival. So where we test all the athletes, they compete, and it wasn't a surprise for me. I knew that it's going to go big. And all the athletes, those who have won there, they're getting good followers. They're getting good contracts from the brands, still being natural. So why do you want to take steroids then?
But there's so many other pros to it too. You know, obviously longevity. We see bodybuilders right now that are dropping dead like flies. And aging, like steroids age you so hard. Not only that, the way you communicate, like when I was on steroids, any drug affects your chemical reaction. And I know from first and foremost, when I was on steroids, I was definitely more angry. I definitely had more of a temper. I definitely wasn't the person I am right now. This should turn you off. There's no, unless you're that 1% that truly is a genetic freak that can take it far, like a Phil Heath or a Chris Bumstead. 100%, you take the risk and you make your money in your career. But for just your average Joe, just be natural, chase a different dream, and that's what we're trying to spread, you know what I mean?
And what was it like when you were on steroids? How was your internal organs were like, and did you get it checked?
And I'm very, very into the health now. Like I get my bloods done regularly, but when I was on steroids, I used to think I was infinite. I used to think, nah, everything's fine. You know what I mean? So I actually didn't get my blood work done for 3 years. I just stayed on, man. I was stupid. I'll be honest, I was stupid. I finally went and got my blood work done, and my kidney and liver enzymes were literally through the roof, to the point where the doctor said, and this is no word to lie, if I had stayed on even another 4 months of what I was doing, orals, which is tablets, so they bypass your liver.
Yes.
So it's no different to taking like an MDMA pill or something, but you're doing it every single day.
Yeah.
And then he basically said, if you were to be on steroids and doing what you're doing for another 4 months, you'll be on dialysis for kidneys. So dialysis is where you have to walk around
with the pack.
I would have been done. Do you know what I mean? It was either that, I would have died, or I was going to end up in jail. So the three things were just atrocious. The libido side of things, this is what people don't understand, is when you inject a synthetic hormone like testosterone into your body, your natural production goes, okay, I'm getting triple what I'm producing naturally, so my testicles are going to shut down. I don't need to produce anything.
That's
so it's like, this is very basic for listeners that don't understand. So if I'm injecting testosterone, my body's going, oh, I'm getting so much of this, the testicles will just shut down. So it's all good. So while you're on, it's all good. But you're gonna have to eventually get off. So what people don't understand is then you stop injecting testosterone, but your testicles are already shut down. So you get off, your testicles, they might never regenerate. But even if they do regenerate, it could take, I've heard, up to 6 to 12 months. Me, myself, I actually could not get an erection for 2 years. 2 years. I can guarantee if you tell any 27-year-old, you cannot get an erection for 2 years. You know what I mean? We're all males. We all like girls. We all like intimacy and sex. If you can tell someone that you can't get an erection for 2 years,
you go crazy, man.
Not only crazy, like that also makes you depressed. So then I started to go depressed, and then I started to think I wasn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? And totally it's just, I'm telling you, the amount of effects that steroids ruined my life, didn't ruin it because I've moved out of it, but ruined it at that stage. I've only just come to the point where I'm actually feeling like a human again, and that's 2 years after. And for what? Like, oh yeah, I was 15 kilos bigger, I had a little bit more veins, but who cares? I'm more successful now and I'm more healthy. You know what's funny though? And I'm being honest, I actually get more compliments now. My skin used to be terrible, acne. I've got pictures, I will send you one. Shocking skin, receding hair, just didn't look healthy, you know what I mean? And I'm getting more compliments now. I'm not using steroids. I don't have to pay for them, so that's another plus. I'm gonna live longer. I'm getting to help people around the world spread my message. I'm getting to meet like-minded people like you. If this message doesn't help you not go down the path of steroids, I don't really know what will, but you know, this is why we're doing it. And if you ever need any help, please reach out to myself, you know, or yourself, because that's what we're here for. We can maybe help you not go down that path.
I'll put all the links of yours, you know, all social media down in the description box, as well as in the video you'll see here. But you know, just to put it like a perspective, when you said like, you know, when someone takes steroids from synthetic hormone from outside, it goes to like triple of the amount which your body produces. So just to give you guys a perspective, like, you know, our body naturally produces, like on an average, like a male who's like from 20 to 30 years old, around like 600 to 800 nanograms per deciliter. When you take steroids, when you take hormones from outside, it goes to like 3, 4 times, 5 times sometimes, you know.
But this is the thing, some people are so stupid that they're taking, so you hear a typical thing is like 500 milligrams of testosterone. That's like what people do now is basic. Do you know I think that's about 6 times your natural limit?
That's a lot.
But what I'm trying to say is, I know the industry. I have some people that I know that are doing 1 gram to 2 grams. So we're talking 24 times your natural limit, and then they're puffing up in the face and they're wondering why they're looking so bloated, because your estrogen, it just fucking ruins all your hormones, you know what I mean?
You're playing with your hormones, which your normal, you know, function, then of course it's gonna blow up in your body.
But then they come to me and they're like, I feel like a god while I'm on. But then once they get off, they go, Jackson, I'm suffering. Like, I can't lift the weight I was lifting. I'm getting smaller. I don't have the sex drive I have. And they wonder why.
That's the biggest thing they feel, like, you know, the inferiority complex when, you know, when they lose out the muscle, the strength, they see, oh, I'm not looking that good, you know, which I used to be. So that's the thing which like drives them to come back to the steroids again. That's how they like gets, you know, addicted and hooked on the process, and they never come out.
That's awesome. I call it a yo-yo effect. So yo-yos go up and down. So that's literally what I did. I tried to get off, felt crap, so I felt better on, so why not use it? And I explain it, I don't know what your audience is like, but I explain it similar to an ice addict. I've dealt with many ice addicts. They're on ice, they go to rehab.
Just to put the perspective, what's ice like for the...
Ice is ice the drug.
Yeah.
So it's ruined a lot of my mates' lives. Ice and heroin are the two worst, but ice, so it's like being an ice or an heroin addict where you're hooked, you go to rehab and you get off, but you just chase that high, so we get back on. And then it's like you hate that life, so you try to get off, and it's just a never-ending effect. It's the exact same as steroids. You're never gonna feel as good off as when you're on in the gym, so you constantly just want to stay on.
Makes sense,
You know what I mean? It's not good.
Yeah. But it was a good chat, man. You know, we really appreciate that you shared your story, and I think my audience would love to know about you as well.
And honestly, there's so much more in depth we can go into. We're just scratching the surface and just doing more of a teaser to the audience. But another thing I want to address is, if you were even going to consider using steroids, like you said, you have to understand nutrition. You have to understand how to actually engage the muscle. Just little things like you were even teaching me out there, to rest, to take the set to full failure. People inject a synthetic hormone before they even know how to train or eat properly.
That's correct.
And they're going, oh, I'm going to inject this and it's going to take away all the hard work. It's not the case.
That's not the case.
You know, also invest in a good coach. Like, you want to invest in someone that actually knows what they're talking about. Get your blood work done regularly. That's something I didn't do, which I wish I did back in the day, because I would have known, if I had got it done in the first year, I would have seen the enzymes rising and would have been like, okay, this isn't good for me. Maybe I should either lower it or get off. All these little things can contribute to a healthier lifestyle, which is what we're trying to preach.
That's true, man. But anyway, it was really nice chatting to you, brother. And you know, we'll train together sometime again.
Absolutely.
And next time we're gonna meet for your podcast. Squeeze more.
Nice, bro, nice. Push, push.
Yes, yes. Let's go. Easy. Keep going. Keep going. Let's go. Thank you very much guys for joining in, and thank you very much. I will see you soon in the next video. Jeet Selal signing off.